What's crack-a-lackin' Visorites? Had this requested by one of my awesome viewers, the Metallica albums ranked. I thought, why not? Reality is anything I want it to be on this channel. So for some background, your boy here is a massive Metallica fan. I would say I've moved on to other bands for favoritism in my later years, my twilight years one might say. Bands like Ghost, Sabaton, so on and so forth. But Metallica was a first love from when I first played the Metallica Guitar Hero game. So there's a lot of nostalgia there. Your boy even saw them back in 2013, and I look back on that with very fond memories. So my childhood is pretty rooted in that. So with all that said, let's dive into the ranking. But first, intro reveal. How awesome was that, guys? Truly awesome. Oh, right, okay. What an experience this album is. This might be the album that turns me to drinking because it was that bad. It's bad. It's real bad. And look, I don't want to try and steal people's comments on YouTube, but there's one I gotta mention from _zombiedude_2534 that says, I forgive you, Saint Anger. If that doesn't introduce the album and what's on there, I don't know what will. I mean, you know what? I hate this album so much, I'm not even going to use the actual album cover. I'm going to use this one, okay? You guys can deal with this one. Like, this is the album that awaits me in hell on repeat. And I know a lot of people will say that Lou Reed was an icon. You don't understand the album. It's poetry you're too daft to understand. I shall now speak my rebuttal. Wrong. Lou Reed has always been shit. I understand how terrible it is, and the poetry is so lame, if you put a cape on it, it becomes super lame. Now, I will be honest, I did not give this a fair review because I got like 3-4 tracks in and just started skipping minutes at a time to think, maybe the chorus will jump at me, or maybe there'll be a good riff here or there. I skimmed most of it, and it got to the last one, which I think was called Junior Dad. And I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe sometimes they save the best one for last. 20 minutes long, man. I mean, listen to this. This is the first song of the album. This is what you're greeted to. I know James can do better than that. James, what the hell? Why did you say yes to this? You know, this whole album's so shit. I would rather have Lars Ulrich screaming in my left ear and Yoko Ono screaming in my right ear for an hour than listen to one more song from this album. And you nerds can quote me. Did I go in wanting to hate it? Yes. Did I leave hating it more? Yes. In fact, it's so bad, I'm going to be adding a 13th spot with nothing in it, so it can't harm the next albums. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. There is one good thing about this album. I am the table! As I said, literally nothing. An empty spot, a blank void, a cleansing barrier. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even really want to mention the snare drum here. Actually, no, I am going to mention it, because Saint Anger is the only album where the drums sound like Lars wheeled in the aluminium bin from outside to replace the snare. The album is definitely a product of its time. And honestly, on a re-listen, it wasn't as bad as I remember or expected. Don't get me wrong though, sonny boy, it is not good. But there are crumbs of like genuine heaviness, and some riffs do go surprisingly hard with like a grunge-like bite. But, you know, watching the Some Kind of Monster documentary, like, you know, you can tell they're trying their best. It doesn't help that, you know, you feel like the ego's coming off them. It kind of hurt their album a lot, I think, having that movie. Because they all just come across like divas that just bully Kirk and just like hate each other. And James has always been my favorite of Metallica, but Jesus, man, were the pregnancy overalls necessary? I like the songs of The Unnamed Feeling and Frantic, and even Saint Anger itself is pretty alright. The rest just, I hate to sound like a boomer, it just sounds like noise at times. Like, overall, some minor enjoyment is here, the same way one can enjoy being beaten half to death in a dark alley can be. They had the drive. You can see they're trying their best, but it's just, I don't know. It sounds better these days when they play it live, because I think Lars got the memo that the drum is shit. But still, like, Lars isn't even the best drummer in Metallica. 72 seasons, more like 72 reasons why it's shit. 72 seasons felt like it just kind of happened and then disappeared, like it dropped, and I was like, oh cool, what are the boys up to now? And then I was like, oh, this is not amazing, but that's okay. Don't get me wrong, Lux Eterna and Screaming Suicide, quite the bangers, I'm not gonna lie. Hell, I'd even say they slap quite hard. In Room of Mirrors, oh, what a standout on the album. Amazing, like this bit here is just, oh, yes, that's what we need. One thing I do also like about this album is I like that they were like putting themselves back out there into mainstream again. And like, come on, Metallica in Fortnite, that's pretty cool. Yeah! The fucking Ghost Rider? Spider-Man on the vocals? Oh, it's Ninja Batman, my bad, guys. Let's fucking go, guys. Oh god. Okay, yeah, alright. Read it and weep. 44,000, you wish you guys had this skill. But honestly, like, the whole album, to quote James Hetfield himself,
it sounds too stock, it sounds too normal to me.
Ah yes, load. Or as my father calls it, load of shit. And look, let me take you back to 1991. My father buys the Black Album and is excited to listen to it, listens to Enter Sandman and says, this is terrible, this sucks. They sold out. Starts hating them, jumps ship. Everyone called him crazy. He was the smart one. No one saw what was coming for this next album. Let my heart go. Get out! I will go on record saying that Mama Said, the country song I just played, is a good song, but it's a terrible Metallica song. The band that owned the 80s metal scene decided, yeah, country. Let's get on that. It's ridiculous. No. However, there are some good things about this album, such as Until It Sleeps, I think it's a fantastic song, and King Nothing. They're the stars, the absolute stars. I've always said that, like, King Nothing is the better version of Enter Sandman, and I shall die on that hill. And look, Until It Sleeps, despite having an odd music video, is actually a very, very good song. And I feel like it doesn't belong on this album. I feel like if Until It Sleeps and King Nothing were on the Black Album, they'd be a lot more better received. But then you have shit like Mama Said and The House That Jack Built. Like, listen to this. The weird little solo thing they do in the middle of this song. Like, what the hell is that, compadre? That's not Metallica. And look, I know this album has some fans now somehow. And, anything can happen in this world. I mean, even Lulu has fans. Look at any of the comments on that album. Jesus Christ. But this album's just the black sheep of the Metallica albums. Oh, thank God Load is done. I can just finally move on. Oh, it's Reload. Okay, so here's the 411, folks. Fuel, Memory Remains, Better Than You, Unforgiven 2, great. Rest, lame and underwhelming. I really did try to like this album back in the day, like 2017, 2018-ish, but I just couldn't get into any of the songs. This is that era when they tried to become mainstream and really leaned in hard to be a rock band, and I just don't like it. Look, I love Memory Remains, but I've always hated the Merry and Faithful parts. Live, it's so much better. I think the bluesy influence they use for like a lot of the songs here kind of fails most of the time. It's a ballsy move, and I think it works for songs like The Unforgiven too, where it leans into that kind of western-y kind of theme, which the first one did. But the rest just kind of feels forced, unnatural, you know? One very good thing about this album, that will always be like a high point about this, is back in the day, my awesome parents bought me like a stack of 30 CDs for my birthday one year, and they're all like the B-sides, the demos, the live recordings of like this era and the Black Album. And it's so weird hearing these songs without all the lyrics, and it's just James going la 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 la. It's awesome. It's great. Give that a listen if you can. Now, I like this album, but God, it feels so tightly wound and compressed that it deducts some points personally. That being said, I love some of these tracks. That Was Just Your Life, The Day That Never Comes, All Nightmare Long, Cyanide, Unforgiven 3, The Star is absolutely The Day That Never Comes. It felt like they're like how I always say Creeping Death is the precursor to Master of Puppets, Enter Sandman's the precursor to King of Nothing. The Day That Never Comes feels like the precursor, or the, I don't know the backwards one of that. The continuation of one. Now, when this first came out, I was not privy to Metallica at the time. My first experiences with this album were on the Metallica Guitar Hero game. I never really liked any of the songs from this era until like my later years. I still stand by that some of the songs on this album are just a bit, you know. However, when your boy himself saw them live in 2013, they were gearing up to play one of their new songs. And I'll never forget when James said, "Who likes the new stuff?" And everyone's like, and he's like, "Yeah, it's okay. We're all friends here. We can be honest." And then they played Broken, Beat, and Scarred. And it was amazing live. I loved it. It made me appreciate a lot of the stuff on this album because of how he's like, they cop it on the chin a bit with this album. But no, it's a good album. It's not my favorite, but could be better, but got better with time. Now this album, talk about a weird goddamn album cover, but good. This album felt like more of a return to the roots than all other attempts, to be honest. There is very minimal filler here, like Hardwired, Atlas Rise, Now That We're Dead, Moth into Flame, Dream No More, Halo on Fire, Man Unkind, Murder One, Lords of Summer, all certified bangers. But one stood above all, a king amongst men, a god amongst ants, a return to those thrash roots, the song that made me say, the boys are back. Spit Out the Bone. And the biggest surprise here is that Lars sounds like a competent drummer here, and he uses double bass. My father still jokes that Lars must have been sick the day of recording.
Stop breathing and dedicate to me. Stop dreaming and terminate for me. All meaning you dedicate to me.
Honestly, I can't talk up Spit Out the Bone enough. That song took this album from like a 6 to an 8, in my opinion. And that bass solo. Oh! This album feels like not just one, but many steps in the right direction. I wish 72 Seasons took notes from this album, because this one was just a brilliant return to form. Do you guys remember what I said in my second video ever? I was thinking, what would be the logical next step for a video topic? And, it hit me. Controversy. God, the days where I sounded scared as hell and didn't know how to work out noise suppression. Can you believe that was like 4 months ago? God damn. Now, I like this album a lot, but not for the songs you think. Enter Sandman has always just been a fine but extremely overplayed song. Same with like Sad But True, Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam, and Nothing Else Matters. Fine songs. On second thought, I might actually put nothing else matters in the good camp because this bit here is just pure, like, cinema.
And I know, yeah.
God, Lars is going to have a field day with this video, but, like, you know what? Who cares? This is all for fun. The real stars of this album, barely anyone talks about them. A Wolf and Man, Struggle Within, Through the Never, Don't Tread on Me, Holier Than Thou. Amazing tracks. And the two best, The God That Failed and My Friend of Misery. Gorgeous, beautiful songs. But for Christ's sake, can someone grab Kirk Hammett by his goddamn hair, bash him against the wah pedal a few times and say, please stop using it? It is so littered throughout this album that every time I hear a wah pedal, I just instinctually get mad and start looking for Kirk Hammett. It's lazy more than anything. You take away what I'm going to call your whittly skills to just go wah wah wah. It's lame. It's nerdy. Just use the goddamn whammy bar like a normal person, you weirdo. Now the real question of this is, will my father attack me for putting this low?
Do you, Michael? Do you? We'll see.
The album is great. It's not a favorite, but there is a lot of energetic and classic metal tracks here. You know, some real good classic thrash metal. Hit the Lights, Motor Breath, Jump in the Fire, Metal Militia, Phantom Lord, No Remorse, great. Whiplash, Anesthesia Pulling Teeth, Four Horsemen, certified bangers, and we can thank Metallica and Dave Mustaine for those. However, I may get some hate for this, I just never personally cared for Seek and Destroy. I know it's great live, and I would agree it is great live. I just think it's a bit of a boring song and kind of overplayed. This one may get some controversy. It's the Enter Sandman of Kill 'Em All. I think a lot of what brings the first three albums so high is the presence of Cliff Burton and his amazing bass playing. A lot of these songs wouldn't get to the height that they are without his influence. Overall, great album. Just, I have a hard time liking certain genres, and like really thrashy, energetic, it's good. It's just not really my cup of tea, personally. I know, sacrilege. You can't put covers above original pieces. Well, I just did. I am God here. I love covers. I love seeing people put their own spin on things, and that's just what this album is. I'm going to stick with disc 1 for now, and then I'll carry on to disc 2 after. I will admit, it's weird seeing Metallica cover Tuesday's Gone by Lynyrd Skynyrd, but, you know, I was kind of prepared for that tomfoolery with the country song on Load. Sabracadabra? Great. Love it, man? Great. Merciful Fate? Love it. Astronomy is a weird trip, I'm not gonna lie. Whiskey in the Jar? Quite jiggy, not gonna lie at all. But the best tracks are Die Die My Darling and Turn the Page. Brilliant, brilliant covers. And the second disc is a compilation of their covers throughout the younger years, so like B-sides or bonuses, that kind of stuff. You got everything you could ask for as a metalhead here. You know, you got Motorhead covers, you got a Misfits cover, you got the classic Am I Evil cover, and of course my personal favorite, Stone Cold Crazy by Queen. What an excellent cover. Absolute banger. I love it. Never really liked So What personally. I just think that was a bit of a lame kind of song to choose. I don't know. Punk I never really like most of the time. I know. I'm picky as hell. I will say, I kind of wish they do a sequel to this one, you know? Because they did the Garage Days Revisited, which was like just before And Justice for All, or maybe just after, I can't remember. And that was like pretty much what the second disc is. And I really wish they would bring it back like a sequel to this, because I'd love to see what covers they do these days. Now, I'd first like to start by saying this album personally means a lot to me, because this was the first album I ever bought with my own money. What an album. Blackened is the most absolute top tier Metallica song to start off an album. Extremely underrated too, no one ever talks about it. That intro is just, awesome. I still remember after I bought it, my dad being more excited than I am. He started unwrapping. He's like, "We got to put it on now." He puts it in the CD radio in the car. He cranks it up, and he just starts headbanging to Blackened. It was loud as hell, and I remember going, "Oh yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, I like this a lot actually." My dad's rah in the front seat. People are looking past, going, "What the hell is this guy doing?" Brilliant, brilliant song. And Justice for All, amazing. Eye of the Beholder, amazing. One, beautiful. Short Straw, Harvester of Sorrow, Frey Dance of Sanity, Delivers to Die, Die is Eve, all bangers. I only deduct points because the bass just isn't there, and everyone's already talked about it. They lowered it because I don't know why. Lars is Lars, I guess. But luckily, we have super fans around the world that have posted bass-enhanced versions for us to enjoy. This was also the first album without Cliff Burton, which absolutely sucks because he was so gifted, but I think the anger from that loss carries into this album. You almost feel like the spite and their anger almost at times. It's beautiful. Beautiful album, amazing album, perfect. Minus the bass. I'm always in this weird camp where I like the songs on Ride the Lightning better, but I like more on Master of Puppets, if that makes sense. The album is an absolute masterclass in metal. Everyone brings their A game. Battery, Master of Puppets, Thing That Should Not Be, Sanitarium, Disposable Heroes, Leper, Messiah, Orion, Damage Incorporated, all killer, no filler. The absolute peak of songs on this album is of course the usual suspects, Master, Battery, but goddamn, Leper Messiah is a track I only really started listening to like properly 3 years ago. I always skipped it, and now in my perfect 2020 hindsight, I can say it is such a hidden gem on an already perfect album. I feel so annoyed at myself that I never, I don't know, I have this weird thing where if I don't like something, I just barely ever come back to it. For some reason, I went back to Leper Messiah, and I was like, this slaps hard. I was wrong. I always say, I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. This is a time I was wrong. And of course, you can't talk about Master of Puppets without the hauntingly awesome Orion, the best track on this album, probably their best song full stop. I mean, come on. This part here is just the perfect cacophony of perfect music. Am I a music expert? Absolutely not. I even dropped out of music in college because I couldn't read music. Am I trained in any way to be assessing of music in any shape or form? Absolutely not. But goddamn, that part has always stuck to me as such a hauntingly beautiful melody. The entire album it's great, and when it's fast, it kicks hard like a machine gun. It's a very militaristic sounding album. But when it slows down and gets softer, it's got that beautifulness to it, It's such a beautiful album. Give it a listen if you haven't. If you haven't, what the hell are you doing, man? The number one pick. Not only is this their best album, it is a genuine work of art. The tone is just so crunchy on this album. Whilst, Master of Puppets has that militaristic sound, this one has just a frosty, eldritch feeling, Fight Fire with Fire is just such an amazing intro, done with a 12-string acoustic guitar, I believe. It is just so... It lulls you in and then just hits you hard while you're on the ground. Ride the Lightning is amazing. For Whom the Bell Tolls, I think it was one of the first Metallica songs I heard that I remember going, this is good, I like this. I remember seeing that during the intro to Zombieland, and I was like, I know this one, and my dad's like, yeah, you know this one, that's my ringtone. Fade to Black, beautiful song. Trapped Under Ice, underrated as hell. And that's where I feel a lot of that crunchy, frosty sound. I know a lot of people don't like Escape. They're wrong. It is a great song. Creeping Death, oh, one of the best songs they can ever play live. And, of course, The Call of Cthulhu. Just such a... That is just the eldritch, frosty feeling to a T. They're all beautiful and haunting tracks. I would also say this is the best work of Cliff Burton. He went all out and just brought it home, you know? I don't know if you guys have ever seen this video of For Whom the Bell Tolls Live. Look at this guy go, he's a beast. And that's how you use a wah pedal smartly, Kirk Hammett. Genuinely, such a shame that he's no longer with us. Absolute beast. Best album, Metallica. I rest my case there. Well, that's all the albums ranked. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. You know, we like trying out new things here. Why not, you know? Should be coming back with a Minecraft episode soon, so I'm very excited for that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any other ideas for videos, please chuck them in the comments. 100 subs are coming up quicker than I thought. Holy moly. I feel like I blinked and it went from 66 subs to like 94. So obviously YouTube Shorts are the way to go. I think for the 100 sub video, I'm thinking maybe Project Zomboid, but you know, if you guys have something else, let me know please. I don't know what I'm doing here, man. Other than that, again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Leave a like and a comment if you have any other suggestions, and I'll catch you dudes on the flip side. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is the T-Visor, signing out.